Week 1 after a layoff is the most important week. I don't mean for your resume or LinkedIn. It's actually for the 5 things that most people tend to overlook. Let's talk through all of them right now. No one wants to think about that first week after a layoff. I've been through it 4 times, so it's pretty clear in my mind. And the truth is, even knowing what I knew, I still got something wrong every single time. So I'm not just giving you a checklist. I'm telling you what happens when you miss things or, if you don't quite know what to look for. I remember my first week, I get up, walk to the kitchen, just standing there right in front of the refrigerator, not sure what to do with myself. And I have no appetite, not because I'm sick or anything. My body was just in shock. Think about it, your whole morning routine pretty much gone. The coffee, the commute, the first meeting, everything that told you what to do next just disappeared overnight. And my body is like, wait, what are we doing today? That weird lost feeling in the morning, totally normal. It's not weakness. It's just what happens when you lose that whole structure. To me, it felt like something died unexpectedly. And today I want to give you a new first week, the 5 things. Let's get into it. I know, hear me out on this one before we get into anything practical. Because if you skip this one, everything else can be harder. The day I got laid off, I didn't want to tell my parents. I called a couple of close friends first because telling my parents meant making it real. As an Asian kid, I grew up with this weight where somehow, no matter what happens, if I stumble, if something goes wrong, I automatically feel like I'm the problem. Failing at anything, even something completely out of your control, like being laid off, means you just don't have your shit together. Like you're a disappointment to the family. I finally tell them, and you know what? They don't really think less of me. They just want to help. That makes me cry even harder, because I had spent days carrying that weight on my own. So here's what I want you to hear. You did not fail. This happened to you. Those are 2 completely different things. Give yourself one day, just one day, to feel whatever you're feeling. The grief, the anger, the fear, the shame, all of that. If you need to cry, just cry. Try not to perform okay for the people around you. Definitely don't jump straight into the job search mode because you don't want to sit with this discomfort. Feel it first. Let the emotions move through you. Because the people who process it, they move faster and better than people who bury it. This emotional foundation is what makes everything else, the strategy, the job search, the interviews, work later. File for unemployment as soon as you can. This might be obvious. I've never really told anybody this. After my first layoff, I was too embarrassed to file for unemployment. What? I kept thinking, I don't want to take money from the state because I didn't do anything to earn it. Also, what does that say about me if I take money? But then I found out that unemployment insurance exists because of the work you did. Employers are required by law to pay into that system. It's not optional. It's the Federal Unemployment Tax Act. Your employer has been paying into that fund this whole time because of the work you did. Every job you ever had contributed to that system. Some states, they even take money out from your paychecks to put into that system. So filing for unemployment isn't really a handout. It's a cushion that exists specifically and legally for this exact moment. And here's something most people don't know. When you file, the company that laid you off, they can see an increase in their unemployment tax rates. So filing isn't just about getting income. It's about documenting that this happened, that you were let go. They already knew this was part of the deal when they made that decision to lay people off. So let me just be clear on this one. There is no shame in filing. There is only cost in waiting to do so. And here's what waiting had cost me. I thought, figure it out my next job first. Maybe I don't need it. I also wanted to wait. If I don't get any interview next month, then I'll do it. And here's what that cost me. When I finally went to file, I realized there was an in-person interview required before they even looked at my application. That took time to schedule and to complete. And then I found out that if you received severance, really depending on your state, your unemployment benefits may be delayed because some states, they treat severance just like income, which means the clock doesn't really start when you think it starts. I didn't see my first check until 3 weeks after I filed. Meanwhile, the mortgage was still due, the bills were coming. So file today, go to your state's unemployment website, find out what the process looks like in your state. Find out if severance affects your start date. And just so you know, unemployment, they don't really replace your full paycheck. It's usually somewhere around 30% to 40% of what you were making. In most cases, it only lasts about 6 months. All right, I'm curious if you have a bad or unexpected experience filing for unemployment. Let me know in the comments. Now this one is urgent in a different way, and I don't want to scare you, but I do want you to take this seriously. Unlike most countries, I'm sure you know, unfortunately in the US, your healthcare is tied to your employment. So when you lose your job, you have to worry about healthcare. Did you know that you have a window to make decisions about your healthcare coverage? Now, if you're lucky, you have the option to get COBRA that lets you continue your current insurance. But frankly, who can afford it? It is way too expensive. For me, it was over $600 a month. Also, really most of us don't even get this option. You also have the option to go to healthcare.gov, look at the marketplace plans, especially if you've had a change in income status. You may qualify for subsidies that make it significantly less expensive. Now, some states, they do have better subsidies than others. If you have regular prescriptions, I would ask for a 90-day supply while you still have the active coverage. Go to the medical and the dental appointments or any test that you were planning to get done. This may help you to save some money, maybe hundreds of dollars. Also, your new job may have a waiting period before you get covered. So don't let the window close while you're busy with everything else, because it happened to me. You may have coverage till the end of the month or even longer. Stick around. I've got one more thing at the end that could help you to lower your monthly expenses and a whole lot of stress. Let's keep going. This next one, it really surprised me. By day 4, I was in bad shape. Emotionally, but physically, I had been sitting at my computer applying for jobs just nonstop. I was like this for hours. I'm pretty sure I wasn't even breathing regularly. I definitely had no breaks, no movement, no fresh air, and my whole body, upper body especially, started aching. Shoulders, my neck. My whole body was telling me this is not sustainable. I was running on empty. I made a decision. I started moving every day, trying to have a slow jog in the morning, a walk in the afternoon before dinner, and I stopped being alone. I rotated between library and a cafe. I scheduled walks with friends, not to talk about job search, but just to be around people. Okay, it's easy to feel once I land something, everything will be fine. But the loneliness, it creeps up all the time. You have to deal with that sooner. Remember to get out of the house, to be around people. It really helps the anxiety. I have a whole video on energy, the dark days, and how to be a human again. I put out new tools and tips every week. You have more financial runway than you think. I had so many restless nights. It's 2 a.m., I'm lying in bed, wide awake, heart palpitating, just anxious. My mind won't turn off because there's this math running in my head. Mortgage payments, monthly bills, savings balance. How long do I have? What if it takes 3 months, 4 months? What if it takes 6 months? I had a mortgage to pay on my own, and that 2 a.m. math was terrifying. But look, the math in your head at 2 a.m., it's always scarier than the math on paper. So I got up, I opened a spreadsheet, and I started actually looking into the numbers. And what I found really surprised me. There were things I could cut that I hadn't even thought about. I looked at every prescription, including my dog's medication, and called to ask about generic alternatives. I looked at high interest debts and figured out which ones to prioritize and see how to move from higher interest to lower interest, even no interest, for 1 year. I found fees I was paying for things that I didn't even use. And there were subscriptions I could pause. Some I actually didn't even remember I had. Also, I did something that felt very uncomfortable at first and tedious, but made an immediate difference. I called my car insurance company. I called my credit card company. I told them my situation and I asked, can we lower my premiums? Can we pay a minimum payment temporarily? Try to work things out with them. So more often than not, they actually said yes, because a lot of companies, they rather work with you than lose your business. I changed to a different car insurance company at the end. That saved me over $100 a month. Let me know if you have experience in other ways to lower your monthly expenses. Okay, here's the exercise you can do this week. Write down your monthly expenses, every single one. Then put a mark next to the ones that are fixed, like mortgage, rent, utility, and then look at everything else with fresh eyes. What can be reduced? What can be paused? What can be renegotiated? I made a whole video going deeper on that. So that's your first week. The 5 things you should not overlook. Feel it. File for unemployment. Protect your insurance. Don't stay in isolation, and know your runway. I know it feels like you should be doing more, like you should be sending a ton of resumes to apply for jobs and rewriting that LinkedIn profile. You're going to be okay. Give yourself the grace. You can't hustle your way through it when you're running on empty. You have to take care of yourself first. And coming weeks, we dive into strategy. All right, let me know which one of these surprises you. If the finances piece is what's keeping you up at night, I made a whole video going deeper on that, where I looked at every area to stretch my runway further. Check it out when you're ready. I'll see you there.